Hello, my name is Toni Garrn and we are in Berlin. Not my hometown, but my home country. How did I become a model? I have told this story quite a few times. I was walking along my hometown, Hamburg, and a modeling agent just came up to me and asked me if I wanted to be a model. And at the time, I was just about to turn 14. And I just said, sure, I'll come into the agency and check it out. I have no idea what this means, but okay, cool. And then somehow, 13 years later, I'm still here. Almost 14 years later, yeah. I think best things are often the worst at the same time. To be super spontaneous and to be able to travel the whole world can be incredible. It could be awful as well if you're never in the same place and you're traveling every single day and you never really see the same people more than once a year. That can suck, but be incredible at the same time. But I still love it. Social media has changed the modeling industry a lot because all of a sudden now, just to talk about the modeling perspective, models now have a voice. Models now have, I always say, we have our own press release every day. We have a voice that's 100%, I mean most of the time, mine is 100% what you think, what you choose to filter it as, how you choose to take the picture, what your caption should be, at what time you post, normally you take the picture. I mean, a lot of our profiles, not unfortunately, but are us, so we can't take all the pictures. Unless you have a great setup and you put it somewhere and you can do all the selfie stuff, but it's very, very important. It's changed a lot. There's, again, pros and cons to it. I think it's great that we now have more of a voice and more of a say. You can see more of our personality, or you can see our personality, period, because in a lot of shoots that we do or a lot of runway shows, it's often, they suck the personality out of us. They don't really want a lot of personality. We're constantly attackable for anything. If we travel, if we eat, if we say hello to the wrong person, if we say hello to the wrong person in a certain way or look a certain way. But I think that's the case with everyone on social media. So it's a platform to be yourself and to open up, but also definitely to be attacked. No, there was not one key moment that made me decide to do charity work. I always loved Africa. I always used to go there as a child and just had an affinity for the people, the culture, the food, the music. And if you really get to know Africa, you get to know its issues as well. The 10 poorest countries in the world are still on that continent. And one of the number one issues are that the women usually don't finish school because they have to do a lot of housework or get married off. And that's how I naturally felt like, I should do more. How can I help? I have this fashion world behind me. I know a lot of people in this world. Maybe I can raise funds here. And so the more I opened my eyes to what the fashion world does, and not just the fashion world, but how I know people and how I could raise money. And then I learned about organizations in Africa, because obviously I collaborate with locals. It's learning by doing, going a lot and getting to know people, seeing what the issues really are, who I can trust on the ground, how to sustainably really make a change and really help. It's definitely a learning process. I'm just at the beginning still. A lot of learning, working with locals and communicating, listening to the girls locally is key. There was not one moment, but I guess going there a lot and seeing the girls without school uniform, without shoes on, and seeing that the boys did have access to education, those moments triggered something. Yes, I definitely believe there's still a long way to go for female equality worldwide generally. The UN claims there's not one country where female equality has been reached in the world yet. There's some countries that are close to it. But again, back to Africa, I chose Africa because the issues there are so much bigger, like the normal human rights, as in the woman is allowed to go to school and learn the alphabet, learn to read, learn what's in her religion, what's in the Quran or in the Bible. Those simple, basic human rights are still not really there in a lot of the poorest countries in the world. That's why I focus on those, but I think it's still an issue all over the world. I think how I can improve and support female empowerment is just keep growing my foundation and keep really working sustainably and staying in the projects where I am now, because now I kind of built this great system with people that I know. I have great relationships with the headmaster in Ghana, or with the project manager in Burundi, or with the main doctor in Uganda, things like that. Now, how do we make it sustainable? How do we keep the relationship going for a long time? How do we maybe expand to also build a medical center next to the secondary school? Or how do we build a boarding facility next to the primary school so the girls can live on the school campus so the race to school are less dangerous. I want to focus on the places that I'm now and really expand them. Work as sustainable as possible so that every dollar that I raise really creates a difference. What advice would I give to someone? I think do your research. Before I started helping, I worked with Plan International, and I just did trips with them. But I also did research online, like how big are their overheads? That was important to me. If someone donates $100, how much actually goes to Africa? How much actually does it reach the kids? Do your research. What organizations work the way you would want to work? What initiative obviously is close to your heart? What do you care about? Because you're not really going to help or really create a difference if you don't really care about it. So think about what's important to you. I think there's definitely some trends out there, and like climate change is incredibly important. So if the world is important to you, then be better at recycling, be better at traveling. I don't know, girls are my thing, so I'm always going to support girls all over the world. But if everyone does a tiny little bit, we're a lot of people on this earth, we can create a big change. But I think it's important that we don't try and change the whole world every day. Like, you can only do so much. So focus on one thing and then see who does already good work in that field and maybe join them. I decided to work with Zalando because they just wanted to work with me. It was very nice to work with a company that just wants to see me. Whatever I want to do, whatever I want to talk about, 100% of who I am and what I do all day long, they cared about and they want to listen to and they want to support that. And they care about, things like my foundation. I'd love to talk about that more, and they have a great platform. So it's really a great collaboration where I can just be myself, and that doesn't happen every day at work. So I was like, sure, this is great. Free to be, I think that's exactly what I just said. Like, free to be whatever you want to be, and that's the variety speaks for that too, that you can just go online and literally find everything that you want to be that day. But what I just said, I can be myself as well. I've only worked with them for a couple of days now, but they've never said you have to look like this or you have to wear this or you should say this. It's always been however you feel. And I think going back to the social media aspect, that's what 2020 is about. Platforms like this should promote personalities and uniqueness, and everyone is different. So I think free to be means just to be yourself. There's only one of each person in the world.